Welcome back. This is another very interesting, actually super interesting conversation in artificial intelligence. Today, we're going to talk about starting deeply R&D startups, and particularly we're going to take a look at the technology that is enabling HR revolutions and people analytics revolution. With us today, a very accomplished entrepreneur and also scientist, David Young. How are you, David?
Hey, Paolo. Thank you for inviting me.
It is a great pleasure. So, David, you have had a very long career, a number of companies. Today, you work on Yva.ai. Can you tell us a little bit about, how did all of this started?
Everything started in our dormitory. I'm a physicist by education, and I always wanted to be a physicist. But when I was a fourth year student, I wanted to earn some money for my sneakers and jeans. I never took money from my parents. So I had a genius idea. I just thought, why not to create a little piece of software, translation dictionary software designed in a month like July, and another month, August, we would sell 100 copies at $100 each. So we will get $10,000, and in September we will come back to our classes and continue our physics. That was the plan. First of all, what is good, I found money. I raised actually money in a month, just showing one piece of paper, dot matrix printer plan, business plan, just telling the story. What never happened, we never, of course, developed the product in a month. It took us about 9 months to develop this product for me and my partner, Alexander. What never happened, we didn't sell 100 copies, but we actually sold 15 and more expensive, not $100, but $700. So we kind of accomplished our plan a little bit, but the product became very popular. We got 50,000 not legal users, illegal users. It was that time when people copied software like they wanted. And we became popular, and then I decided to stop my physics career and switch to computer science.
And how long did it take from the moment in which you started to the moment in which you said, you know what, I'm going to do this full time?
It took about a year and a half when I came back to my um, dean of our faculty and said, "Hey, can you give me some break?" And the dean said, "No, I will fire you. I mean, let you go, and you will come back and do your PhD thesis when you will be ready." But so I had to make my decision, and my teachers always taught me to do one thing and do it best, devote all your time, and this is what I learned. So starting from 1992, we expand our business. We start developing not just translation, this electronic dictionary software, but also OCR, optical character recognition, and spell checking software. So it was a suite from page to page, from language to language. So you kind of put information in one language in your scanner, press several buttons, and your printer would translate the translation to other languages. In 1993, it was like magic. No Google, nothing that time people had. So that's how we became popular, and we expanded our business to international, North America sales, and operations, and European and Asian. So now we have about not about we have 14 offices in 11 countries. We're selling in 200 countries, 50 million users. So Abby today is different company, of course.
So how did you manage to have the R&D and investing in R&D and the risk of R&D, and at the same time being able to ship product and go to market?
When you are doing a new product, when you are we are starting a new company, the biggest error which you can make is to start developing without asking your future user. In Silicon Valley, sometimes people say, fake it, then make it. So you never start something, you never invest in the development before you went to your customer and pretend you have it already. Talk to your customer, make your paper prototype, ask what if this product exists right now, what you need, and get your NPS scores, get your this called customer development. Talk to at least 100 your future customers, and take notes and categorize them and see who are those people who gave you 9 and 10 grades, 9 and 10 scores out of NPS question. How likely you would buy this product today, and understand this segment who may give you 9 and 10. So make the product for them, make them happy, make a niche product, little product with very limited functionality, but which will break everything, which will make this one function better than anything else, everyone else. And that's how you start your technology, and actually not only technology but any business.
In your case, the OCR at that time, when you started working on that, the OCR was not really fully mature or fully developed. So I understand you went on and talked to a few customers, a number of customers, and say, if I had this prototype or if I had this product today, would you use it? How would you use, and so on?
When we were building our company, Abby, we had slightly different approach, which is even better than paper prototype. We started reselling other OCR product. We became a distributor of OCR product developed by our partners, and we already knew requirements of the end users. We knew channel partnerships. We knew everything about our partners' needs, what exactly they were okay, and what functions needed improvement. So when we started our OCR development, we knew everything. We had channels, we had brand awareness, and we had customers, and most importantly, we had pure understanding what exactly was requested by the market. At that time, in our times, the poor quality printings was the major problem of OCR. OCR were pretty okay when they tried to recognize good quality printings, but as soon as you took fax machine printings or dot matrix or something else, or photocopy, they couldn't recognize. So we started actually focusing our OCR fine reader to be able to recognize poor quality printings. That's how we actually became very popular.
So you first went to market with some level of product that you produced, but also reselling other ones' products. You developed enough know-how, and then at that point you went and target a specific technology development. Is it still part of your approach?
I always recommend to do that. If you have other product to start selling to your potential target audience, try, because you will learn a lot. Many of your hypotheses will not work out, and you will make several pivots before you will start investing in your own development. Development costs money, development costs time. So if you have something to start, start. But when you're doing completely new, something completely new, then it's different. It's sometimes you don't have a substitution product. And this is very risky area. It's called new market products when the market doesn't exist. Very rarely companies succeed trying to create new markets which never exist before them. So we tried several times. I don't say that it's zero chance to succeed. You have chance. If you If you will catch that chance, then you will be actually very in completely different position, because having new market leadership, you have much more opportunities. But at the same time, it's risky because failed to create a new market. Remember Apple Newton. Apple Newton was trying to they tried to create a new tablet market, but they failed first time. Second time, they didn't fail. At the same time, if you are entering existing mature market, then it's hard to compete with your predecessors. So they are mature, they're strong, the market is mature. So normally you find a little gap between completely new market and old market. So you find the edges between them. This is what happening right now with Yva. Yva is our new AI product, which addresses the problem of employee behavior understanding and engagement understanding, analytics. Did we have such products before? Well, you can say yes, you can say no. Companies have been using annual surveys for many years. Then they started to use pulse surveys, weekly surveys, which also had some significant penetration. But AI people analytics, when computer is analyzing not just answers from subjective answers from employees, but also observing employees' communication and employees' environment on objective data, that is mostly didn't exist before. So it's a very important edge between old market and new market, and that's where you could expect big growth.
So this is kind of a use case, but what new use cases the Yva.ai is bringing to the market?
Yva is a unique combination between subjective data and objective data. Subjective data, it's feedback of from employees when system asks questions and employees give answers. Objective data, what we call digital footprint or hard data, is actual results of work. Emails sent, messages sent, CRM, Salesforce records, GitHub records, Jira, Asana, all that corporate sources environments when employees store the results of their work. Previously, as I said, when HR and leadership try to understand their employees, and they had to ask. It was not 100% solution because answers are subjective, but when you combine it with objective observation of digital footprints, millions of data points the company leaves in corporate data sources, then you can actually see the real picture. For example, you have a good employee, extremely good person you want to keep, and suddenly this person leaves. It's enormous loss for a company and for employees. It's a problem. Unwanted attrition is a big problem, costs millions, literally $10 million per year per 1,000 people team. So we want to fight with that. We want to keep this good people. So it's everything is observable. Company could be very responsive if company would know that signals in the beginning and change and improve itself. So if I knew that this engineer needs something, I would change it. I want to make him happy, or him or her to make happy. That's how new people analytics technology improving the environment, combination between observed data and subjective data.
The big question that I have is why this is possible today and was not possible, 5 years ago.
Because neural networks, artificial neural networks became so advanced and so sophisticated that now they can detect that information. Each person leaves millions of data points during a year working with a company. And the changes of that millions of data points impossible to observe by a human. But with the neural network, if it's trained, for example, to detect changes preceding resignation, that became possible. So previously, artificial intelligence technologies and deep learning technologies were not advanced enough to detect those changes. We spent actually 4 years to understand how to build this transformer-based and variation autoencoder-based architecture technologies, which now can look at time series data, and now they are trained to detect little changes which happened before something. Before, for example, closed contract. What salespeople did differently? Well, before a resignation, what little changes happened before resignation? Some of our customers, for example, want to predict accidents for drivers. They have digital footprint of drivers when they drive, and they say before the accidents, people maybe slept, maybe they were tired or whatever, frustrated. Can you look at the digital footprint preceding that accidents? So if you train your neural network, we will actually predict such situations and avoid them. We will save lives. So actually, it's a very, very important area, predictive analytics applied to professional environment.
With the technology like the ones developed by Yva.ai, it's possible to spot some behaviors in advance that are predictive of an event to happen. So for example, of an employee to resign. So this is what the company is focusing, but the technology, the underlying technology is being developed actually is a specialized applications of deep learning that is particularly sensitive to pick an event in time that is predictive of another event that will happen later on.
So imagine a person wants to resign. What happens before resignation? It's a burnout, frustration, and some other things which affect the digital footprint of this person. So neural network has been fed by hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people who resigned, and the neural network was asked, please pick and understand the similarities of changes 6 months before resignation, 12 months before resignation. And it happened. System was actually managed to train itself unsupervised way to detect those changes. Now the accuracy of prediction is 86%. Can you imagine? So any company can test it on their own. They just take Yva and ask Yva to predict last year resignations, which happened last year. Don't tell Yva who actually resigned. Just show Yva all employees who worked last year and ask who resigned last year. Yva will come up with prediction, and you will compare prediction with actual last year resignations. So you will see how accurate Yva is working. So and in many cases we achieve 86%. It's not actually accuracy. It's called F1 score. It's a statistical measure of accuracy. So F1 score is 86% in many cases of blind cross-validation tested predictions. And if now you know who is frustrated, also second important thing, you also know the reasons. It's not, some people ask us, okay, imagine, okay, I believe you, I trust you, you have built this neural network which can see this resignations, but how can it help me? If I even knew that this person or this group is going to resign, how can I keep them? How can I retain them? And it's important that Yva is actually bringing the answers, what actual reasons of their frustration. Now, having 6-month prediction or a 12-month prediction and reasons of frustration, you definitely can make some elements to changes to retain those people.
Today we live in the world of what is called narrow artificial intelligence. So basically systems that are able to make decision on their own, learn on their own, but on specific tasks. So we discussed so far that Yva can be utilized to spot if somebody wants to leave the company and what are the reasons why that person wants to leave the company. But you also said that it could be potentially used for predicting when a driver is going to have an accident. That's a completely different field of application. So I'd like you to comment about this, like how the technologies can be extended to solve problems that are similar, but they are completely different in a way. So different type of data, different type of level of criticality, because a car accident is different than somebody that is resigning.
A system actually is fed with time series vectors, multi-dimensional vectors of data points, and system doesn't know what features are analyzed. System completely agnostic to the actual semantics of the signal. The only what we need is cause and effect connection between the event and the preceding data points. For example, if you are driving and you have accelerating or slowing down, you are opening door or closing, you're turning, how you turn your wheel. So cause and effect connection between the accidents and the behavior you are expressing driving, then it will be caught by neural network. But for example, for resignations, Yva was already achieved 70% of accuracy, 0.7 F score with only 100 resigned people. So only 100 resigned people, system analyzed preceding data points and already got with very, very high accuracy of prediction. And you don't need to spend time and money on this training. It's several hours of training of the server, and it will come up with neural net with millions of weights, and it will work. And you can test the score. The same with accidents. You just take the history of time vectors of data drivers who got the accidents, and the same with normal driver which didn't get. So system will analyze and find similarities, correlation between changes. And another question you might ask, returning back to resignations. Okay, what kind of features you are using? You're using the feature how early was the first message, how many messages in the morning, how many messages in the day, what was the last message. Actually important, we don't analyze the content of messages because of privacy and ethical questions. We analyze, for resignation prediction, we analyze only metadata of communication, envelope, the graph of communication, who sent a message to who and when. But still, some people objectively speak more, some people are more silent, extrovert, introvert. Some people start working early in the morning, some people late. For Yva, doesn't matter, because Yva is not looking at absolute numbers. Yva is looking at changes. We call it angular features. So the same is driving styles. Some people are driving this way, some people are driving that way. It doesn't matter for Yva. Yva is looking for angular features, only what changes, what changes happened last minute, last hour, last day, last week, and so on. So that's how it's very agnostic to what kind of signal to take and what kind of labels to predict.
I must confess, this technology seems one of the most advanced that I have seen. And so it's kind of shameful, but I have to ask you this question. So where is gonna be? Like, it is already pretty interesting performing today, but in your opinion, what will happen in the next few years with, like, where do you envision this technology can go? What type of new use cases can open up?
We envision Yva as a personal business assistant to each employee and each manager in the company. Yva observing millions and billions of data points of organization, having labels of successful and not successful outcomes, actually can learn a lot of internal wisdom of the organization. Moreover, with 60-second short weekly surveys, which Yva.ai brain generates and gathers information from employees by asking employees about something, it enriches that information. So in the future, we believe that Yva will become a brain, which actually it's a collection of corporate wisdom, which aggregates the best experience, best knowledge of best performers, and it will be a trainer, it will be a coach, it will be an assistant and advisor to each person, how to sell more, how to close deals, what's the best practices on publishing code, managing people. One of our customers, for example, it's a 270,000 people organization, financial organization. They are doing with Yva a little pilot on 25,000 employees. And their goal to understand best manager skills, micromanagement versus coaching versus rewarding versus all that. They have several hypotheses. What are the best managers' qualities? And so they will have actual confirmation from data-driven confirmation, what actually are surrounding the best managers. So Yva will become coach and assistant to each person in the company, just aggregating the best practice from this organization. And actually, if this organization is okay to share their anonymized information with the community, then they also will get anonymized best practices benchmarks from the community as well, which is even more will contribute to their success.
Often it comes out that people worry about the negative side of applying artificial intelligence. And for a second, I would like you to reflect on this point. Once this very advanced assistant that is able to understand the wisdom of the organization is in place, he could, in theory, be able to make decisions such as, also firing people, if you like, or it could be able to make decisions in terms of advising people on what to do, and therefore it could create a standard. How do we go about having a humanized approach at the end of the day?
Those technologies must be a second medical opinion technologies. So the final decision is always should be made by people. This is important. Human should be managed by human. Yva is always a second medical opinion on helping to deliver more information and more context to the table. Doctor is a doctor, but of course, doctor today should use advanced technologies to observe the patient with the MRI scanners. Yva is an MRI scanner. Yva not is a doctor.
So with this last question, I wanted to thank our audience. So if you have specific questions about this video, please comment below. And if you have suggestions about other topics that you're really interested, really passionate, let me know through all the means, either emails or in the contacts. For the time being, David, thank you so much. It's been an enormous pleasure having you here.
Thank you, Paolo. It was my big pleasure with you. Thank you.